Welcome back to Racing to Win. Well, in 2012-2013, Japan's champion Lord Kanaloa won the sprint on 2 occasions. Outside of that, it's been a dominated race by Hong Kong, winning the last 5 editions. Mr. Stunning twice, Aero Velocity twice, and Penophobia. Can Mr. Stunning make it 3 on the trot? He's drawn well, barrier 2, recent form fair. Beat the Clock's also drawn nicely. A poor draw again for DB Pin. Hot King Prawn in 1. Ratton, Dannon Smash, the Japanese visitor, drawn 7. I Victory, Wishful Thinker, Seasons Bloom, Full of Beauty, has copped a beauty of a draw. Gate number 5 after a ripping run leading in. In her time, obviously a little shadow over her, but she has drawn well for Brenton Avdulla, the new father. And Athero, the 3-year-old, on 117. Zach Purton has done plenty to get down to that weight during the week. And the draw is okay, according to John Moore. Seasons Bloom, who does go into the race fresh after a devastating win last start in the Premier Bowl, has been back to Chunfa. Athero, if he steps cleanly, they'll be looking for the lead.
They will be from gate number 9. I think it's really ideal in the end. You see a horse like Hot King Prawn who's got gate number 1. He's going to get a perfect drag into the races. So Hot King Prawn, I don't think there'll be too much pressure put onto Athero because other jockeys won't want to be extinguishing their chances. You've got Regency Legend there, Mr. Stunning. DB Pin, he's wide, but we know he has been able to sit wide in the past and win a Group 1 race, and Full of Beauty should get a nice smother behind them with Beat the Clock on the rail.
First one we'll look at is Hot King Prawn. He came back after his absence with a really ripper of a run last start. He's come on from that. He looks good. He's got barrier 1, so he's one of the chances in the race. He's come up in single figures as well. Has Hot King Prawn. The next one we're going to look at here is Full of Beauty. It was a really good run from him last time, and prior to that he ran a nice second behind Seasons Bloom, and he's drawn perfectly. He drew wide last time, said excuses, got too far back, and that won't happen on Sunday. And Athero, just a nice little quiet piece down the back straight. You can see the horse is going well. He's only a 3-year-old, but he's quick.
Yeah, it's fair to say that he is rather quick. That's a good way of putting it, Paul.
Good observation.
Yes. All right, we're going to start firstly with John Size, who has a strong hand, obviously, in the sprint. Let's hear what he has to say about his charges, headed by, firstly, the Toppy Beat the Clock.
He seems okay. He's only had the one start, this preparation, but I think everything in order with him. He seems to feel well. He looks good. A little bit of cool weather this week has picked the horses up, and I think he's fresh enough to run a good race.
He's never won second up before. Is that an important statistic or a meaningless statistic?
Well, I think statistics, you can make anything you want out of them, but you obviously should take some notice of them also. So, yeah, every statistic has some weight. I'd be interested to see if he could defy that. You couldn't sort of argue about his consistency. He's never been out of the first 3 in all of his racing career. So I'm not sure that his form fluctuates that much.
DB Pin, second up as well too. He's gone close in this race in the last couple of years. Gate 13, does that bother you?
That won't help him at all, but I think with a full field, it's probably plenty of pressure in the race, and he can run from back in the field, so maybe he can run a good race from there.
Hot King Prawn, interesting comment from you through the week. Did you feel we mightn't have seen him at his absolute best? Were you happy with what he did first up?
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't think he could do any more. He's returned on a pretty high figure after a long break. So if he can repeat that or improve on it, he'll sort of go close to winning the race.
He's a horse that's obviously shown a lot from day one. For his age, he's lightly raced. Is that, no, he had the Kovac, but overall, has it been a softly approach with him through his career?
Mostly has been, but in Hong Kong you can't race them too often anyway, and when he's going up in class rather quickly, you can't sort of take him to the races all the time. But he was, as I say, favourite for this race last season and he failed, so maybe he's got a little bit more in him.
What about I Victory?
I Victory's drawn gate 11, so he's got a bit of a task from there. His races have been sound this preparation. I thought he ran much better the other day. but he'll need a little bit of luck from the draw. If he had an inside draw, I'd be more confident of him getting some prize money.
And Full of Beauty, has he had a good preparation for the race? He's had a number of lead-up runs, was running on strongly from a bad draw last time.
Well, he's done a very good job because he only started racing as a 4-year-old, so he's only been racing for about a year or so. And he's come up in class pretty fast. So I think his run was sound the other day, his first try at set weights. He came off a bad draw and had to go back in the field, so he gets a very good switch here in coming in about 9 spaces in the gates. He could give himself the run of the race from there and grab some prize money.
Of your 5, who's in the best position to win on Sunday?
Well, I think they're drawn probably according to their chances, nearly. You know, Hot King Prawn's in 1 and as they work their way out. But so I think the gates are pretty important for this event. It's only a short run to the first turn, and the 3 horses drawn inside will probably get the easiest run. DB Pin's been going very, very well, but it's a disappointing gate from him, and Ryan Moore will have to be at his best to try and get something out of that.
49 runners in the Longines International races. John Size has had just 2 winners, but 8 minor placings, or 8 seconds. Mr Stunning, obviously, a year or so ago, and Glorious Days quite a few years ago, but he's got a strong hand here in the sprint, despite not having the favourite.
No, he definitely has. And I think I quite like 2 of his runners a lot, which is Full of Beauty and also Beat the Clock. I think they both got really good chances, and Hot King Prawn have got all 3 in, actually. All
right, we're going to go back and have a look at the Jockey Club sprint. We'll focus on Athero. He was just dazzling this day, got to the front and had a lot of classy gallopers chasing. He had the weight pull. He'll have the weight pull again. But if he gets into rhythm and gets into action like he does here, it's going to be very difficult to see anything cutting him back.
That's the key, isn't it? He's drawn wide so he can get across barrier 10, as long as he doesn't get crowded and he sort of gets his own way. But the horse is running 2nd, 3rd and 4th. I thought they were all full of merit there, right?
Yeah, they were.
Providing he steps clean, he gets to the front, can dictate from there and doesn't get too much pressure up front, he'll do that to them again.
If he gets into congestion and gets bumped around and gets unbalanced, then it's all of a sudden it's a whole new ball game. But that's what Zach Purton's there to do and make sure that that happens. Now, Seasons Bloom, obviously a winner of the Stewards Cup going back a couple of seasons ago over the mile. But Danny Shum's made a sprinter of him this season, and this was a ripping win in the Premier Bowl, almost Abel Friend-like.
He's been somewhat revitalised here over the 1,200 metres, hasn't he? Look at that last section of his race, 21.14 for that final 400 metres. Dropped on them late. That's wishful think here, Full of Beauty there. It was a massive run in the end from the winner.
Yeah, it was a good run, but this is going to be a lot harder, I think.
It is, yeah.
Danny Shum's spaced his race as well, though.
He has. Let's go to the Japanese galloper, Dannon Smash, who is a son of Lord Kanaloa. Frankie Dettori will take the ride. He's in terrific form. He's had 2 runs back this prep for a win, first up in the Keeneland Cup and then 3rd behind Tower of London in the Sprinters Stakes. I've spoken to a few of the Japanese people and there's some question over whether Tower of London or Dannon Smash is the better sprinter in Japan at the moment, and some people say that Dannon Smash might be.
Well, Dannon Smash did beat Tower of London 2 starts ago.
Yeah.
And he was favourite for that race.
We know the trainer knows how to get a sprinter up and running.
That he does, yes. Be interesting to see whether he makes the tips. I have a feeling that there'll be some money late for him in the betting, but Athero to win, Paul?
Yeah, it looks Athero to win, but there's no spoils there. To beat Full of Beauty, he's the value. Beat the Clock and Hot King Prawn. 14, 11, 1 and 4.
Yes, no spoils, all right, with Athero. He's on top for me, horse number 14. I've got Beat the Clock, and you can't leave Mr Consistent out. Hot King Prawn and Full of Beauty. So 14, 1, 4, 11.
Well, Lord Kanaloa was $1.80 when he won back in 2013. Be interesting to see what price Athero does start. Mr Stunning $1.90 2 years ago.